I'm here in Lima, Peru, and I'm speaking to Laura Alonso, who is a former Draper Hill Summer Fellow and also a member of the Argentine Congress. So Laura, you're one of the few people that's made a successful transition from civil society into actual politics. Can you describe what you did earlier and what and what it was like to make that transition?
Well, before I worked for 8 years at the NGO sector at the chapter of Transparency International. I did all the professional career there, and I ended as the executive director for the last 3 years out of 8. And I was invited to run as a candidate for the House of Representatives, and I did. I was elected in a party list and re-elected 4 years after that. It was a very difficult path because politics is a very hostile field, and when you come from a watchdog institution, it's more hostile because you were the one that watched politicians and pointed them out, about the bad things with political finance or the lack of transparency in their decisions and behaviors. It was hard. So you start developing, you never know that you have these skills, but you start, developing a lot of skills to resist, to work hard, to concentrate, and also to use many times humor and irony to face guys that are lying and defaming you all the time.
So Laura, you're deeply involved in Argentine politics, and I guess from the standpoint of democracy and the rule of law, one of the troubling things has been the deterioration of institutions in Argentina. Can you talk a little bit about what's been going on?
Well, yes, institutions have been deteriorated. The concept and the essence of the rule of law has been distorted because from leadership, political leadership at the top levels, what comes down as an example is that corruption is permitted and that there is no punishment for corrupt officials and from anyone. So what we have seen in the past decade, after the big crisis in 2001 and 2002, is that government, a president with majority in both houses, took everything away from the Constitution. So they passed laws that directly went against the Constitution. And in the meantime, all this idea that you can do whatever you want, that no one is going to punish you, has also created this general belief that if the powerful can enrich themselves with public funds and public contracts, why not me?
And what are the specific institutions that have been really undermined in this period?
The first one is Congress. The majorities in Congress, or almost majorities, have been bought by money. In many times this money has been public funds for the provinces and the governors. One of the main and the first decisions that the president Kirchner made was to ask Congress to delegate on the presidency all budgetary powers. So they passed a law in 2006 that destroyed completely the power of Congress over the budgetary process. So the president can do whatever he or she wants with the money. The other thing that they did was to distort the statistical system. When inflation started to arise, what they do was not to control inflation, but to start lying with statistics. So they distorted and dismantled the statistical system. The other thing that they do after Congress and after the stat system was to control the institution that selects and removes federal and national judges. They passed 2 reforms with their majority, so-called reforms, the bad reforms, to take over with a majority, to take over the process of selection of judges and removal. So what they have been doing is appointing friend judges or threatening independent judges that wanted to investigate corruption or other crimes. The other thing that they do was to appoint, with their majority in the Senate, a very controversial chief of prosecutors. And she started to do the same with the vacancies in the different prosecutors' positions. So now we have 25 vacancies and a lot of appointments that are made by the finger. You know, she appoints with the finger without the constitutional process going on.
And you use Twitter and...
Well, it's very important. For me, traditional media and social media have been very important because, you know, I'm a member of a party, but I don't have money. And I don't raise money, and the only thing that I have is my work and my, you know, reputation. I have made my way to get into TV shows, political TV shows, but not only political TV shows, and I have worked a lot with Twitter and Facebook, using different languages for different audiences, and this has helped me to enlarge my, you know, my positioning, and a lot of more and more people know me through this new media. Yeah,
Okay,
it's very important because, you know, it's no cost. Thank you. And just a word for this week in Lima.
Okay.
It's been great for me because, you know, I know I have worked with case studies at Stanford and everything, but the most important part of this week was to know Peru by Peruvians and to see how committed people at the public sector are to progress and to freedom and democracy. And I really am proud to, you know, to have met all these people, and I hope that we can cooperate after this week, because it's been, I think, the most important part, to know Peru by Peruvians.
Yes, well, Laura, I know you and your party are facing an election very soon, so I wish you the best.
Thank you.
You're doing a great, you know, job struggling for democracy.
Thanks.
And I wish you the best.